What up, y'all? Back with another video. Today I wanted to talk on the narcissist topic is going to be on when they know that you know that you've found out they're a fraud, when you are starting to logistically find out who they really are and exactly what they've been doing to you for such a long time. What can you expect? Okay, and it's interesting. A lot of times this is the stuff that either if we do look into narcissism, or if we are interested in certain things, we typically don't get this information, or even are interested in it too much in the beginning when we start to wake up. We're more interested in how they're gonna feel sometimes, or how you can still fix them. I mean, I know firsthand, but we all will come to the conclusion that there's a couple of people online that will say that they're self-aware narcissists. If you've listened to any of my material, you'll get the idea that I am quite skeptical of those few 2, 3, 4 of them that do exist, and for different reasons. And I think you should be skeptical, especially because we're dealing with a platform that's talking about narcissism. And then we have self-proclaimed narcissists that have channels that are here to supposedly help us, right? So, and maybe that's very well the case, but, they could be narcissists just manipulating, right? Just for other reasons, or it could be, not true at all. But anyway, on the topic of when they know that you have found them out, in the case in my case, of course, I ended up like everybody else. Many people, where you find yourself Googling personality disorders because you're trying to figure out what is going on with your love partner, right? Because you want to get them help, or you want to help them, because we could be a lot of times fixers, right? Which is a bad idea. So you want to help them, and that sort of thing, and that's not ever a good idea. You got to kind of go into a relationship with somebody that you accept, and like who they are. I guess the thing with the narcissist is they change on you, right? But that's because we don't know, we didn't know the signs, and we didn't know the pathology of what narcissism was. And when you start to learn about it, it's a whole nother life. It's not like they teach this stuff in the textbook, really. Very rare will you hear or see anything in this category, right? Unless you've dealt with it firsthand, And so I guess my point to all this, or let's just get on to the topic. What's going to happen is typically they will discard you. They will discard you when they start to, they're very intuitive. So when it comes to certain things, and on this topic, they're increasingly intuitive, and we all know that they're very paranoid, right? And with them being paranoid, they're very vigilant on, keeping an eye always to see if you are finding them out. And when you start to find them out, trust you me that they will know, even in the beginning stages of you finding them out. And they may discard you before, you get to that point a lot of times. And sometimes they will do it because they want to give you some time. Like if they start to smell out or sniff out that you're starting to catch on to them, they'll discard you. And for some, of course they always have stupid reasons, but they'll discard you for some stupid reason. And then, usually what'll happen is you'll start to accuse them of something because your intuition's starting to get honed, and you're starting to see enough red flags that, things that just aren't making sense, so, I guess, you're in somewhat of you get dragged down to somewhat of a foolish state for a time. But I do believe that it's spell casting, especially for those of us that have grown up and have been prepped and groomed from and come out of the narcissistic family circuit. Okay, and so a lot of people may dispute that, but the fact of the matter is from birth, chances are if you're with a narcissist, you were a lot of us had been dealing with narcissism our whole life unbeknownst to us. And so with that being said, we were groomed that way. We were groomed for supply for that narcissistic family member because we didn't turn out like they did as corrupted narcissistic individual. So we became the black sheep, of course. And Lord knows you don't want to be anything else. You'd rather be the black sheep because you're the authentic one. But with that being said, they're going to probably discard you, and then they're going to give you some time. They'll give you a break, and then they'll come back to you, and they're going to like hover around you, and they're going to check up on you quite a bit because they're going to be curious, and they're going to have to heat check you a lot before they come back. And then when they come back, they're probably going to switch the mask up a little bit. They have to always like switch it up. It's kind of like, I don't know. It kind of makes me think a little bit like at the gym. At the gym, if you keep doing the same old workouts, it's got, if you get this muscle memory, and to some degree, that's good because, you understand like, your muscles start to connect with the way your mind is understanding how it works. So your muscles and your movements and motions will start to connect with your mind's eye, and so then you can do that workout at the most precise way, so that you can isolate those muscles, and so that you can not also and do it in a way where you're not going to get injured, right? The natural way that muscle is supposed to move. And so, but if you do that for a long period of time and you don't switch it up on those muscles, then it kind of like it's not as good. And so, even with your muscles, you gotta like or when your workouts, you gotta like switch it up. It's good to confuse your muscles to some degree. And so with the narcissist, they do the similar situation. They're switching up the mask on you. They're switching up maybe how they draw supply off of you, and things like that, when you start to catch on to them. like for instance, if they've been getting supply off you on a daily basis or on the weekly basis, on a regular basis, they start arguments with you and cause mayhem and catastrophes and stuff, and fights and arguments that, of course, you can't figure out where the hell they're coming from most of the time. Well, they may slow that process down. They may come back at you, a little bit more understanding, and kind of like, start to, maybe not come at you like they were, because they know if they continue to come at you at the full brunt of what they were doing when you were completely unawoke, that it's going to awaken you quicker. And so they may, kind of like do that a little bit less on the lesser level, at least for a time. But that's the thing with the narcissist. They'll do things for a time because you're starting to build boundaries that they don't like. And so what they'll do is they're going to slow it down for a time so that they can break you down again. They want to break you down again and get you to open up your boundaries again and trust. It's kind of a lot, lies on trust. And so that's why the narcissist builds everything in the beginning on trust. Because if they can get you to trust them and to love them, those are two major categories where they can then begin their manipulations to take over and hijack you. Okay? And so, how do they, they get you to trust them? A lot of times is by love. In the love bomb stage, they'll love you. They'll love you and put you on a pedestal to such a degree that you have never experienced life at that level by anybody. But see, it's a manipulation. So, even when you're like, wow, like the one good thing the narcissist is, they made me feel really good and put me on a pedestal. But it's not. It's another manipulation. It's a manipulation because they're going to go from they're going to take you from high up on the mountain to way down in the valley, and that's not ever good for you. If that's where you get that dopamine, and then you get it's all out of whack, and then you get the oxytocin and the cortisol, and you're also dealing with a reality that doesn't exist, and so that's kind of where I think that we can have a tendency to gaslight ourselves in the beginning, is when we accept that love bombing and being put on that pedestal, because they actually kind of play a little bit into your pride and ego a little bit, to be honest with you. And then they, of course, they build you up on purpose to break you back down very quickly. Everything they do is quick. And that way, if they do the quick, they get the hot and the cold. And hot and the cold with the emotions of love. First, they build the love and the trust. They build you way up, and then you open your walls up. One reason is because they built you up so high and so tall on that platform and on that pedestal in the very beginning, by telling you how good you are and all the things that people should really respect you for, and all this, and where have you been my whole life, and the love bomb stage will get you to a point that you've never been before, and you'll be so happy and feel loved that you are going to break every boundary down. You're going to open every wall to them. You're going to give them your everything. And so and they make it like you're going to be together forever. They want to marry you. Of course, they want to marry you quickly. And so all of that's going to play into, and with that love, that fake love bombing that they're doing, and then it gets you to love them back, and then to trust them, and to take all your boundaries down, and that's where they start to hijack you. And when they get you emotionally involved with them, that's where you're in trouble, man, because especially when you're unawoke, that's how they control you. They control you emotionally, and then your mind and your will go next. you know, and that's kind of similar, a lot to do with your soul, your mind, will, and emotions, right? Emotions, then mind, will. And that's why they always say to be unemotional. And when you start to awake, you're going to be unemotional with them. You're going to gray rock them. You're going to, they're not very significant to you. You don't care so much anymore because you're starting to realize that they're just using you. It's tactics. And they're to a degree to where they're always running on similar tracks from one narcissist to the next. That's why if you deal with these on many levels or many time periods in your life, you're going to start to catch on just on the fact that they remind you of another crazy ex that you've had, or one of your family members, you know. The problem is with families, you can be so enmeshed with them because you grew up with them, it's hard to actually decipher some of the innermost details. But on a love partner, it's much easier once you've been with them for a while. And so they'll come at you slower, and then they'll get you to break your walls down and trust them and love them again, and then they're gonna just destroy you again. But you know, if you're starting to wake up, you're probably going to continue to wake up. But you know what, this is the thing they always say, and on this platform is the narcissist wants to put you back to sleep. And one of the ways of putting you back to sleep is to get, you know, to break up with you, discard you, and give you some time. And they're also kind of, during that discard, it's punishment, you know, because you're starting to awaken, they're going to punish you for that. That's part of why they're discarding you as well, because they want you to be in a state of punishment, because they also know you're addicted to them, and so with all of the hormones that they have done with the up, down, hot, cold, push, pull, love, hate, that all of that stuff is played into this. Now you're going to be addicted to them when you're not with them. Now, if at some point these Hoovers won't work, these tactics won't work, they're going to continue to switch it up, and they're going to, you know, in the beginning they're going to discard you, all that. When they come back, they may first tell you that you're the narcissist. They're very good at blame shifting and projecting onto you what they are doing and who they are, and so that's something that most commonly happens during the beginning stages of your awakening and finding out who they are. They may blame shift onto you or project onto you that that's what you are doing, and because we're feeling in this relationship at some point in time that you're the one that's going freaking nuts. In most cases, in case of me and mine, a lot of times, I don't know, I feel like that I'm kind of pretty well centered on who I was. I think I've always felt that way, but I don't think I would have felt that way if I didn't have the involvement of God in my life. And also, like, I've had relationships in the past that were very good to me, and I just, there was, other reasons why, we didn't stay together, but we were, fluid with each other and treated each other with respect, and we had the chemistry and all that. So when you have stuff like that to reflect back on, that helps a whole lot, keeping you grounded in a narcissistic relationship that you find later. The problem is some people, I do believe, have gotten into relationships and have never had a good relationship, so they have a much harder time in grounding themselves in the beginning. The next thing that they will do is they will then maybe discard you for a longer time if they get back to you, and then you start to awaken more, and then because you're going to start kind of building boundaries, and they may discard you, and sometimes they end up being shorter and shorter, the time periods that you're together, because of the fact that you're awakening, and so they may jump to some sort of a small, I call it like a small smear campaign, because it's kind of like they're already vigilant on and paranoid that people are always going to get at them. So they're going to maybe have a few of their flying monkeys come at you with some kind of information where they're trying to threaten you through the flying monkeys, you know, because they're afraid that you're already, you know, awoke and doing that. So there's going to be some scare tactics. But they may think that they may be doing that because you may have come back at them so hard that, you know, and convincingly, because you're learning so much online that, or with a counselor or whatever, that they are who they are, right? Because you're starting to get an understanding of the tracks that they run on. Then you know, those are things that may happen. Then they're really good about getting you back, though, when they want to, and trying to put you to sleep. But see, when you start to awaken, it's hard for you to go completely back to sleep. But if you're partially awoke, it's possible. But once you fully awaken, it's very, I mean, I don't see how you could. But the next thing, and the one that really affected me, is the, like, maybe the third or fourth Hoover or whatever. It was kind of the one where they came back and told me that they had changed, you know. And, you know, so again, you know, you're dealing with the trauma bond, but you're also dealing with, you may be still in that idiotic state where you want to be like, I'm going to give them the benefit of the chance, you know, and, you know, but the benefit of the doubt or whatever. And then, you know, so, you know, they will act as though they changed for a while, in a longer period of time, 2-3 months. If they really wanted to marry you, they may, you know, press for that. And because there's always got to be something in it for them, they're not going to be doing this for nothing. I mean, you know, there's always supply, right? But, you know, so mine wanted to, you know, get married and all that. So I used to get, you know, a lot of, with the Hoover would come stuff like that. But I would try to, what I was starting to do while I was awakening was I was very much assessing them. It was kind of like a, you know, a study case, you know, for me. To some degree. I mean, not completely, because I wouldn't do that just to, like, use an individual, even if they're a toxic, evil individual. But it's, you can't help it. You're stuck in a trauma bond, and, you know, you've gone back to them, but you're still going to use them and assess them based on the information that you're learning about on a daily basis. Because, you know, so they will change for a while, and then maybe they'll find somebody else to project onto. That's the thing. You know, like I said, they got to purge that energy and stuff like that. They got to find other ways. So maybe if you were the prime person they were purging onto, their negative energy, but you're kind of, you know, if they're going to act right, they still got to purge the energy. But, you know, they also don't want to purge it on you anymore, right, if they're trying to act right. So they may have to find a source of supply, or another person that they normally wouldn't project so much onto. They may have to start projecting onto them much harder. And I think that's why they say, you know, like the new supply, they're going to get hammered with a bunch of, you know, projection. It's going to be worse for them, you know, and stuff like that. Or if they're in a breakup state and they have nobody to go to, they talk about the house, the members in the house they live in, like their son or daughter, or if they live with their mother or whatever still, whatever, or the mother lives with them, they may have to start, they're going to start projecting onto them. Whether they like it or not, they have to. And so that was a really good one when they said they changed, and they said they would go to counseling with me. Something that I thought on several occasions during that time period, you know, but they will convince the counselor or the psychologist or whatever a lot of times to side with them that you're the narcissist or something. They're very good at doing things like that and convincing in their field, in their category, in their manipulations. They can be very good. But outside of that, a lot of times they lack common sense and they're not so smart. And sometimes they want you to think they're dumb or not, you know, savvy in those areas. They're playing you for a fool. So you got to be careful. But yeah, that's kind of, and a lot of people get into psych nursing and psychology and, psychotherapy because they're narcissists. I know 2 cases of people that were in, like, they were nurse practitioners, stuff like that, and they're dealing with psych people, and they are narcissists, full-on narcissists in the background. They were not friends of mine or anything, but they were people that I knew and, had been associated with in my very past, years past. When I started to wake into narcissism, these were things that I had found out. So you got to be careful when you're going to counsel. Counsel will use you for supply, and they're the ones supposed to be helping you. Don't think about it. They say, like, psychiatrists, psychologists, and counselors, a lot of times they will get caught, like, having sex with the people they're supposed to be helping to counsel. Well, who would do that? I mean, the number one person that would use somebody who's hurt and then try to get partnerships out of it, or get sex or supply out of it, would be a narcissist. So the worst thing you do is go to a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, and they're a narcissist. You're already damaged. You're already dealing with self-doubt and stuff, and then you're gonna get counseling from a narcissist. But then there's the other ones that are completely unaware, that are in these fields and positions, and they may have a little textbook knowledge of narcissism, but until you live it and deal with it, you can read something on paper all day long, it ain't gonna match up. Or they don't know very much of anything about it. Anyway, that's where I'm going to stop this session. I hope that helps somebody out there. I think I'm going to do a part 2 on this, because I don't want it to be too long. It's long already. So, stand tall, soldier up. Peace out. Love y'all.